So we're on line to do a pretty decent year, not high but not low, right in the middle there in terms of average. So not a bad year so far. How many?
800 so far.
Okay. Did you want to see?
Oh, I got one.
Oh, I got one.
Thanks.
Any questions on the financial report?
Need a motion to approve that?
Nope, because there's
Just a
no
report.
It's just a report.
Okay.
Do you want me to jump into old business?
Sure.
Kind of give you an update on parcel F1 and F2. You may recall those are the parcels north and south of our crosswind runway. We have acquired both of those properties. We had the closing before the July 2nd date, so we were able to get our grant request in and get those federal funds back into our systems so that we can use them up. So that's all good. We do own both of them now, and we were able to get the grant funds for them, so that's a good thing.
And that was from the state as well?
State
5% or whatever?
Yep.
Okay.
That's, I'm assuming that's what L. Franklin announced the grant for.
I would assume, I don't know for sure, but just looking at the numbers, that's about where that number would be.
200 and some.
Yeah.
Yeah, for both parcels?
For both parcels, yeah.
What was the total amount, or approximately?
Approximately 250-ish, right in that neighborhood.
238, I think it was.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Okay.
Looking at parcel 17, we've had discussions with the property owner in terms of an initial offer out to them for acquiring that parcel. There's still negotiations going on back and forth. What I suspect is going to happen is the owner is likely going to have an independent appraisal completed on his property and see where that compares to ours. He's thinking it's more than what we're offering, and so we'll review that appraisal once they get it completed and go from there. So it's kind of in the works. That was not dependent on that July 2nd date, so we're okay with that. But we're still moving forward on that parcel.
And the funding for that will come from the Fed as well?
Parts of it, yes. It's that 95-5 split again.
And then the 5% from the, we're gonna get that?
5% from the state, 5% from the local, split between the city and county.
Okay, so that grant is gonna apply to that as well?
That's
5% from the state?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
The owner of that property came in and visited me when I was still working, and he was a little upset, but I think we can work it out.
Yeah, and he had spoken with me as well, and that's where I kind of had to explain the process that we have to go off of what our appraisal says. If he doesn't believe that the appraisal is accurate, he's more than welcome to obtain his own appraisal, and I gave him ProSource's name, because they were the ones that did the appraisal for us, just to go through exactly the steps that he needs to take if he wanted anything higher than that, or if he felt his property was worth more than that. So,
yeah, he seemed to think that he could take the two that we sold, average them, and then that would be the amount, not based on his make up the property. Was it agricultural? Was it this? Was it could it be built on, and all those factors? So,
so we'll likely see something come back. I don't know where it's gonna be. We'll probably know in about 4 or 5 weeks. That's usually how long those appraisals take. So maybe by next meeting, maybe not.
The appraisals we got, that would take into consideration what was paid prior to that for the usage of that property?
What he paid for it?
Well, whoever owned it before got compensation for us.
Yes, with the easements that we have on there, that's taken into account already, yes.
So the appraisal.
Yeah. Reduces the value of the land because we have easement.
We have easement and restriction on what can happen in which area, yes.
Plus they were compensated for it back then.
True, that's taken into account.
Just so that his appraiser
Understand that.
understand that also,
Yeah.
because that would make a
Big
a
difference,
difference.
oh, yeah. big
Oh, yeah.
difference. Yeah.
Any other questions on parcel 17?
That's all I got on 17.
Any other old business?
Just discussion on that grant that we received, is that, that typically has to go through Franklin Klobuchar for them to carry that for us, or, because I'm
Not
confused
usually.
about that, because it seems like before this has happened, and there hasn't been much hoopla.
Yeah, Maybe someone wants to take credit for some.
Well, and I'm not accusing that, because I
No,
don't,
well, I don't know if it's accusing,
Yeah.
but, I mean, what, if you can use it, you know
Oh,
what I
heck
mean?
yeah.
But I don't, no, that has nothing to do with them getting the money, because the
True.
money is there,
True.
as long as we meet the criteria, right?
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, so, I don't know.
But could they advocate for it, or is it always guaranteed that? Because I didn't know that it was always guaranteed, I know we have this pot, there's that pot of money,
Mhm.
and that it comes from
There's a-
airplane fuel taxes and all those things, but, and I know at one time, the Congress kind of pirated that for a while and used it for other things, so
Right.
we didn't have any available, so I just don't, and I think Franken has a representative coming up here next week, I got contacted.
2:30
by him.
on Tuesday, is it?
Yeah, I believe so, so,
It's either Monday or Tuesday, I don't know which one.
what I was thinking of maybe asking, what's.
Basically, the regional office, the FAA regional office, and then Aeronautics have the final say on it, just that Franklin Klobuchar want the acknowledgement for it, so they're the ones that advertise it. The FAA contacts them and say that it was granted, so they can get the credit for it.
Yeah, it's 2:30 on Monday, at meeting room 1 at the courthouse, Senator
Some
Franklin.
recognition for it.
Mhm.
It happened with our lighting system a number of years ago. Jim Overstar was in here, and I showed him the lighting system and stuff, and he went back to Washington and wrote a $240,000 grant and announced it himself that Little Falls got a $240,000 grant. And the FAA called me and said, "What's going on here? We didn't know anything about this."
And you were gonna get it anyways,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, and I think we're smart enough to know that they do have some voting power as far as
Oh, yeah,
those
sure.
dollars are,
Yeah.
so we're very careful that we're,
Don't step on toes there.
right.
Yeah.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you.
There you
right?
go.
It gets
The
tricky,
support.
Yeah, and I'm sure, so it's not that they don't support us, and, you know what, if we ever have to call in some chips, it's, hey, remember that time you supported us and got us that
Mhm.
238,000, we can use a little help here, friend.
That's right, that's right.
Okay,
Any other old business?
Nope.
Not new business.
The only item that we have is fuel systems inspections. As Tom was mentioning, O'Day has been down to do some work on the fuel systems, the annual inspection. So we're basically looking for pre-authorization for approval of that work.
Yeah, it's already been done.
Yeah.
Had to be done by June, and they came down in June and did it.
Okay.
So there's an annual and a triennial, and we're due for both this year, so they did both of them, so we're good for 1 year on one and 3 years on the next, so.
Any clue what the amount is?
Not a clue. They spent a full day here, doing all the language detection stuff.
Question, that being said, you're talking about fuel, our tank is underground,
Mhm.
2 of them, yeah.
are we gonna get taxed on that?
Hmm?
Are we gonna get taxed on that, or because we're public, so we probably wouldn't? The new law that was just passed, underground tanks, and we had a meeting yesterday, or Tuesday at the board meeting, where all underground storage tanks are gonna be taxed.
Really?
Yes, all underground storage, because they aren't a part of the necessary process of pumping and whatever else. And above ground has been taxed forever. Crowder
Right.
Station, his above ground tanks have been taxed. Underground tanks aren't, because they weren't seen as they were seen as a part of the necessary system to provide fuel. That's all been changed. They legislated this spring that they have to be taxed, so.
is that state or federal? Kevin?
State,
Okay, that's
state,
what I thought.
state. So the issue is that does the tanks being there and them having that ability to pump gas at convenience stores or wherever add value to the property? So when someone goes to sell it, are they gonna get more for the property because they have the gas tanks there? so.
It wasn't at the Clark station.
I know, I was just thinking that same thing.
Yeah, very interesting, and see, that's the issue that was brought forth, is that, well, what if these things they have a life of what, 30 to 35 years, okay? So we sell the place and it's at 30 years already, and now we have to be responsible to remove them and replace them. And that's the thing people are saying, but no, they wanted to make it consistent, and what it had to do with is that a lot of the big beet plants and a lot of your big egg plants
Sure.
had these underground storage tanks, okay, that weren't being taxed, and that was a part of the value of the business. So that then transferred over to having to do other underground tanks with gas stations or whatever else. Yeah, so that was kind of interesting. So Glenn explained it to us at the board on Tuesday.
So that, like if farmers have it, they're exempt?
No, because there was so much, but the farmers have a lot of clout, okay? So that they wouldn't even consider that without, I mean, no, any bulk tanks, anything like that, they wouldn't touch that
Off
at all.
limits.
No, they wouldn't
Go
touch
there.
that at all, so they wouldn't go there.
And that's through the Department of Commerce, you know? The
Yes,
Police and Military.
yes, 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 yes.
Need a motion for that authorization there? The bill? Right, I'll make a
Sure.
motion.
I'm assuming it's somewhere between $600 and $800, that's what's in the.
So moved.
Second. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Any other new business?
Well, and I think if you want to add under new business, so we can keep it as a part of old business as far as the question about the trail issue, just so that we put it and it's in there, just for the record. Because I talked to Bob about that, just wondering, because that's starting to be pushed pretty hard now to get that four-wheeler trail coming up here. And then with the State Veterans Trail on the west side, looking at that route. So there's been some negotiations between the four-wheeler group and the, you know, as far as the biking trail will more than likely go up the west side, and then that will come up this side. So those are issues, they're I think right at the forefront now, that, and so if we say that we've talked about it and it's in our minutes, and I think that's important, that I can mention that we talked about it.
Good point.
Yep,
So the motorized one will be on this side and
yes.
like the walking, biking on the other side?
That's what they're looking at,
Yeah.
yeah, because the two can't go together,
They just don't have enough room to put the two together in the corridor that's on the west side.
Right.
Where is that anticipated to go? What's that?
Great River Road, I think.
Great River Road, the county has, and that's why they kind of put the kibosh over here, because there's very little right of way through that whole stretch. The other thing is and I really advocated for the west side, because it would include Lindbergh State Park,
Yep.
and we have much more road right of way within the Great River Road, because it's required for those federal dollars to do the Great River Road. So there may be enough room in most places to bring it up within that road right of way, the county's road right of way, you know, so.
So there'll be, what, extra width to the road or something to do it?
No, it'll be a separate
Probably
trail.
separate.
It'll be a
Totally
separate trail,
different
it'll be a
trail.
Minnesota State trail.
Yeah.
But it'll be along the Great River Road?
We're looking at that, wherever, you know, wherever it can fit within the right of way, or
Yeah.
who knows what they're gonna cross, or what land. The DNR is doing all those studies now, and they've already started, there were two $50,000 grants given for last year and this year, and they're already starting to, as far as the studies start on the 1.77 million that was appropriated by the bonding bill, not this year, but last year. So they've been using a little bit of that as well to get all the appropriate studies and surveying done, to see where it can go, but it's in the DNR's hands right now. Okay. And I just talked to Mark Sizer, like I said, we were up fishing. They're really working hard at getting the St. Cloud Trail hooked up to the Wobegon Trail. So that's gonna mean, once those connections are all made, it's gonna be, it's gonna be unbelievable.
One end to the other.
Oh, it's gonna
They're
be
talking it'll be the longest paved trail
in the world.
in the world, once those connections are made.
By a bike.
I know.
Yeah.
I like
And
seeing-
they are
I wanted how to ride
anticipating
it.
coming through here
When
somewhere,
you have a
you
bike.
Oh, it's happening.
think? The trail? or on
The four-wheelers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, well, what they're gonna try to do with the four-wheelers is, because it's coming from the sewer line, you don't have a lot of land between or the airport land here, and if we can put it as much on public land as we can, okay, to avoid getting the easements and doing whatever else, so that's what they're looking at, is all the land we have along here would really be a big piece of the puzzle, you know,
I'd say.
yeah.
The one thing that we'll have to look at with respect to that is, I presume a lot of this land was purchased with federal dollars. We'll have to get approval from the FAA that that type of activity can occur on that land that was purchased with federal dollars. So, but we'll have to look at that when the time comes.
Because we got a strip along Highway 10 there that was kind of separated from the,
It's about 100 feet wide, yeah.
yeah, at one time, I recall. I'm not sure if it's the whole length.
No, just shy, well, it goes up to that.
Yeah, middle lane is going all the way down, basically
Yeah.
almost on the viaduct.
Yeah.
Okay. I know there's a strip there because I know there were sign issues and so forth that they were.
There is a strip over that 20 acres that do not own.
True.
Any other new business?
That's all I got.
Any other?
And just one thing, are you gonna be coming to the county board for the grant? No, whenever, I mean, did they contact you?
They haven't, but I
Okay,
can.
well, I know anybody who's asking for dollars, we usually
Yep.
have someone come and present and what it's used for, and that it just really helps us and everybody's on board on the same page, and so,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know, Steve Messerschmidt was supposed to be contacting people regarding that,
Okay,
so I'll talk to Steve and I'll have him get in touch with you.
fair enough.
Yeah, because once you come there, then it's on the public record,
Yeah.
2016, I put the budget 2016.
yeah?
Yeah. Last year, so you and myself.
And I went through that.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Anything else? No other?
Mr. Chair, before you adjourn, may I ask a question?
Yes.
I noticed in the minutes from last time that it says unmanned aerial vehicles. Kimman and Olson informed the board that the FAA has approved an application for UAVs out of LXL. Is that approval as of now?
That approval, if I may,
Go
that
ahead.
approval was, when did they start doing that?
There was a
Probably
May.
in May is when they did
Yeah,
that?
May.
one-time occurrence.
Yeah, and it was a one-time, like Tom said, it was a one-time occurrence, but the FAA was the one that created the permit for it and just said, to let you know, there's gonna be, or could be UAVs flying out of the airport here. As far as I understand, they've already done that work. I don't know if they've flown anything out of here, but I know the work that they were gonna do, they were gonna be doing bridge inspections with that unmanned aerial vehicle. And those bridge inspections are done to my knowledge, but whether or not they flew out of here, I don't know.
There was a independent contractor out of Colorado that was hired by, I don't know if it was a railroad company or whatever, but they were doing an inspection of a crossing, railroad crossing on the south end of town that goes across the river.
Okay.
And they're doing, using a UAV at less than 200 feet to take pictures, whatever, of that bridge for an inspection. And it was just a one-time thing, and it occurred on May 25th or May 26th, I believe it was.
What type of a drone was it?
I don't have a clue.
Oh.
I contacted them after it, and I asked them if they were going to continue, if they were going to do the inspection or not, and they said they already did. And I said, oh, okay.
But how can you, because I look at the Camp Ripley Airfield's regulations, the rain regulation out there, and you can't fly unmanned vehicles with manned vehicles. With the
Well-
exception of on the Miller Field, but they have some stuff to do with that it's pretty sensitive that,
Yeah, on a military base, on the FAA, I don't know if Greg wants to try to explain this myself, but an unmanned aerial vehicle, according to Advisory Circular 91.57, is any type of, it can be a remote controlled airplane, and stuff like that. They're asked to stay below altitudes of 600 feet, but they don't necessarily have to without, and if they fly within 2 miles of an airport, they're advised to contact the airport, whatever other activity, but they don't necessarily have to do any of those things if they don't want to. Yeah, that's.
so this application was just a temporary one. How would a person be able to get a copy of that application to be able to see it?
We have a copy of it at City Hall.
Oh, could I just get that then?
Yeah, if you would just do a data request, we can get you that, yeah.
Okay. So right now and into the future, UAVs are not going to be flown out of here.
We can't stop them.
Right.
Well, it still has to
Well,
come to the board.
they would have to make another application, is
Right.
correct?
They wouldn't have
Well, not necessarily. Anybody can, if I had a remote control UAV or remote control aircraft, I can go any place I want and fly it.
Right, but not
And they're-
out of an airport.
right.
So is there any part of the new runway that's being constructed to accommodate drones?
No.
No, we have not had any UAVs operating out of this area. In fact, they didn't even operate out of here.
Oh, they just wanted the permission because they were going to be flying close to an airport.
Correct.
In the airport
Within 2 miles-
airspace,
within
I
2 miles
see.
of the airport.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah, they never came here and
Okay, I understand now.
Yeah, I don't even think there was talk of drones when we first started this crosswind runway project, was there? Don, God, I think we started it 10 years ago
Yep.
at least.
But would the new airstrip, is the new airstrip more high-tech or better than the one that is here now? It's the same?
It's
No.
the same. The reason for the new runway is because, as you probably know, the wind changes direction.
Yeah, I
And
know
so-
there's wind shear out here that's dangerous.
Yep, and so by having that second runway in an alternate direction,
Mm-hmm.
it allows planes more opportunities to land here.
Yeah,
if
safely.
If they need to.
Right, right.
And that's the main reason for that runway.
Right, okay.
And the FAA had recommended
It was one of their recommendations, yes. Yeah.
But the FAA could allow eventually smaller drones to fly out of here. This airfield would be large enough to fly, say, a Shadow or one of the other smaller UAVs, right?
well, I received a letter from Midnight Aeronautics saying we've got to be careful and not let UAVs fly out of the airport because our federal and state funding depends on keeping the airspace clear.
Okay,
And so before we can sign anything, we could put our funding in jeopardy if we let UAVs operate out of the airport.
okay. That's good to know.
So,
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else? No? Make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
This is the quickest meeting I think we've ever had.
Yep,
Yeah.
There's a copy of the letter.
we'll have to tell Brits that's
Midnight
it.
There you
Aeronautics
go. Very, very.
stating that we could put our
Plus, we're all
funding
on
in
diets.
jeopardy and
What's
stuff.
that? Oh, you need a signature.
Oh.
I'd like to-
Okay.
We don't want any UAVs operating out of here.
Could I get a copy of this from you?
Good gentlemen. Ladies.
There you are, sir.
Thank you.
Have a good
Go in
day.
the office and make a copy for
Okay, thank you.
Coming up.